Hi everyone, I'm Aprajita and I have 8-year experience in data analysis. And now I am going to give presentation on consolidation of data from different locations through SSIS. Eliminates manual data load process. Generally, um, we are doing the loading of the process manually, but by the use of SSIS, we will do the load of the data dynamically and automatically or through the automation by the use of SSIS. Joining large transactions table, but in SSIS, we will decrease this thing. Understanding the complexity, Navision, SAP, and other sources. Through SSIS, we can load the data from different data source like SAP and other sources. There is data audit facility in SSIS, ability to handle large loads, ease of deployment, reduce any offsite deployment requirement, reduce data extraction timing. It takes less time as compared to previous concept. Business logic, coding time, maintenance times less, report development time make highly complex in report, but here we can do in a very easy way. Create ready-made ETL process. We are creating the ETL ready-made process and we can apply anywhere that is required. Produce the reporting output, aggregate faster analysis. What do we offer? Ready-made extraction product to consolidate compressed data from multiple sources. Lower data load time. It takes very less time as compared to previous concept through SSIS for the data loading process. Or data audit and data error logging facility. There is the data error logging facility already defined in SSIS. We can apply this by the use of facilities in properties in SSIS tool. Lower data load time. It means that load time is less. It means that it will take less cost. Audit data error logging facilities. We can do the design we are using in SSIS data load is, as we are just saying that we can load the data from different sources. Like we can load the data from SAP, HSSS, MS Excels in a staging area, and business logic we are applying, and we make the data normalize in the layer of ODS layer. And from ODS layer, we are creating the data mart, minimization of join, data compression. Basically in data mart, we are taking the data that is required for our business purpose. And from data mart, we are creating the reports. Max report reload, minimum refresh time, it takes minimum refresh time, and maximum concurrency, minimum BI tool cost. It takes very less cost. Automation of GST filling demo, problem statement, consolidation of GST data for multiple locations. The location have data on multiple data set by remote location. We are taking the data from multiple locations by the use of not creating the connection static, by the concept of dynamic. We are taking the dynamic connection from that location and we are loading the data from that location on the third party.
Prajita, admit karo na logon ko, there are people waiting.
Each location has independent connection string, username and password. It means that we have taken example, taking an example of a PVR. There are 155 cinema locations, and we have to take the data from different 155 locations by making dynamic connection, and each connection has different username and password. So we have created one table that contains username password for the different locations, and by making the connections from this table, we are fetching the data username password password The performance parameter of the ETL process was called by following parameters: time of load, error logging and status logging, type of errors, validations issues, task achieve, full load of 155 location. In the sense of first time we are loading the data from the uh, 155 location, we are making dynamic connection of each location, and we are fetching the data from each different location and putting into the staging area. And after then we are doing our process of ETL, and we are putting on the final report table flow chart. GST automation. In GST automation, we are deleting uh, loaded data. It means that previously loaded data are first deleted, then we are loading our current data. In loading of current data, we are loading the data by the process of parallel loading. Parallel loading, there is a connection of dynamic connection and assign the number of parameter. Like we are creating dynamic connection, the connection is dynamic. In dynamic connection, parameters are different, like 2 parameters and 3 parameters. If we are providing 2 parameter, the 2 parameter procedure will be executed. If we are providing 3 parameters, 3 parameters procedure will be executed. Data extraction, fetching the data from multiple locations and load into the staging area. After loading into the staging area, we are updating the staging table. Delete prior data that has been loaded into history table. It means that you already storing data, prior data. We are first deleting the prior data, then we are loading the initial load. Initial load in the sense of from first location to 155 location, all data are loaded. If there is some missing locations, like some servers are not started, from some servers we are not getting data, then again we are doing incremental load, and we are checking, and field same process are doing, like this is 2 parameters and 3 parameters, and in this way we are loading them. Even then there is some locations missing. In that case, we are doing flat files. We are making the flat files. In this file, we are putting the information of that location that we are not getting to load into our reporting table. And after then, we are sending the email by that files. Delete the same data if try load again. Like take an example, we have loaded the data of 12th again, then the previous data will be deleted, then we will load the data. Like for one location there are 5 millions data, for 2 millions it comes error, but in that case we will try to again reload that location. In that case, 1 million's data will be deleted, and again we will try to load all data. In the same process, we have created SP execute SP delete action. In SP delete actions, we have provided this select a star from TVL GST where report DTM from. अगर उससे लेस है तो like that we will insert. अगर वो कम है तो in that case we did not need to do this. Parallel load process. Parallel load process in the sense of here we can see that there are 3 threads: thread 1, thread 2, thread 3. If we will execute this DTSX, then thread 1, 2, 3 parallelly it will be loaded, not serially like thread 1, then thread 2, thread 3. No, it will be loaded parallelly 3 threads. So it will take very less time. Thread execution flow. You can see here, this is the flow charts in which we have shown how the data is loaded. In control flow, we can see that we have taken execute SQL task, and execute SQL task we have taken for loop container. In for loop container, we have taken execute SQL tasks we have created, and again we have taken sequence containers. In the sense of like in GST automation, we have done totally parallel executions. So first we have taken key total how many location that is, and that is how many location, like 155 location, location count is 155, then it will be assigned to for loop container. For loop container for loop container that is assigned, it will be executed 156 times. In 156 inside for loop container, we are going and we are seeing the process tasks. And for sequence container, we have seen how the flow will be executed. Like for executed the GST location table, and we have fetched the connection string, we have created the dynamic locations, and we have taken location connection string, and we have taken the intermediate table. From intermediate table, we have created our ETL process, and after then we have loaded the data on the final table. And in for loop process, we have put the incrementation of 3, like 1 to 3, yani 3 process it will executed. After then it will be again iterate, and it will be iterate 3 to 3 again, like that. A step for the implementation: loop construct using for loop container. Parallel load of the thread is incremented by 3. You can see here in for loop container we have set init expression, initial expression, from where it will start. It will be start from 1, and uh, and final where it will go for maximum count. And from how it will be increment, it will be increment by increment plus 3, and increment initial value is 1, 1 plus 3, it means that 4. First time it will be execute 3 process box, 1 2 3, and 3 to like 3 multiples, like that. Dynamic connections. Here we are explaining that dynamic connection we are using, like here multiple data source location is 155, 156 locations. So if we are making a static, it will be very slow to load the data, and if we are getting any errors, then again it will be a stop from there. So we have used the concept of dynamic connection. In dynamic connection, for the connection string, we are we have the requirement of the information of data source, user ID, initial catalog, provider, password. These informations are stored into TVL GST. So we are taking every information. We are taking TVL GST, a scalar value, one column value, and this one column value will be assigned to dynamic variable at the rate you can see here: user ID, initial catalog, DB name, provider, and in this way we are providing the data dynamically, and it is fitting the connection string information dynamically and providing the connection string by the use of variable and parameter concept. Dynamic connection assigned like user con. And for connection string, connection manager, we are going and go to properties. For connection string, we are providing that information that dynamically we are fetching from the queries, dynamic queries. Number of parameters. Here we can see that number of parameters. We can take the count of parameter from the procedure parameter, select count from sys.object as SO, inner join sys.parameter as P on the object P. In this way, we can count the, this is the query that is used for counting the parameter of a procedure. And for procedure, we have take how many parameter it will it will take, like 2 parameters and 3 parameters. Parameter can be 2 and 3. It checks the parameter counts. If the parameter is 2, in this way, in this condition, separate sequence container will be executed. If the parameter is 3, separate sequence container will be executed. We have divided the sequence container on the basis of number of parameter procedure arguments 2 and 3. Two parameter sequence container will be executed, and same thing. Data extraction from multiple locations. Like we have created the dynamic connections. We are taking the data from different location and putting into the intermediate table, and from intermediate table we are creating we are taking the data, we are putting ETL process, and we are putting into our final table. After extraction, data load into the staging table. We are from intermediate table, we are putting the data into a staging table, updating the staging table, like update intermediate, set report from, and to cinema str code. Cinema str code, str code, report DTM2, and report DTM from. These three are our dynamic parameter. We have to provide dynamically. Validation of data. The condition is given by our client to put the condition for, as we are saying that SSI, we are after intermediate table, we are putting our ETL process. In ETL process, we are putting, this is GST automation. For GST, there are some concept we have applied this thing. So then we have put our conditional split. In conditional split, we have put our conditions, and after then we are fetching our final data, TVL GST exception. Get data from staging table, intermediate table, we are getting the data. Next, incremental load. Incremental load in the sense of first time we have loaded the data from different location, but from some location we are getting errors, we are not getting data. Like some servers, there are some stuck, like a server is not started, and some errors. In that condition, we are recorded that location in separate table. These are the locations we have get the errors, and from these errors, like so in 155 locations, we have loaded the data of 150 location, and 6 location where we have got some errors. Again, we will start to execute the loading process, like from one location to 6 locations, and the same process we will do. We will fetch maximum count. Again, we will set the for loop container, and we will calculate 2 parameter, 3 parameter, and we will try to reload the data. Even then, if we will get the errors, there is some errors on some location, then we will create a flat file of that location. These are the information of that location. We are not able to load the data, and we will mail them through the files. These are the location we have not loaded the data because we have got such and such error. Thank you.